In this video message, I will explain to you how a woman knows that she is a lesbian and how you will know she is a lesbian. Because we live in a world where there are women who are questioning their sexual orientation. They're not satisfied with their sexual orientation, meaning they wish they could change their sexual orientation. And then there's some women who know their sexual orientation, but it's not being a lesbian. But they will pretend to be a lesbian or deceive other people into thinking they are a lesbian in order to have selfish gains. Meaning, there are some women who pretend to be lesbians. They deceive other people into thinking they are lesbians to get what they want. And usually what that thing is that they want is a man. So these are not real lesbians. And I'm going to break that down for you here today. The title of my video is How to Know You're a Bona Fide Lesbian. The word bona fide means authentic. Authentic lesbian. I am Giselle Wallace, certified lesbian life coach and author. Here on my YouTube channel, I provide my lesbian perspective. And if that interests you, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like and share the video. Thank you. How to know you're a bona fide lesbian. Well, I'm going to get straight to the point. Bona fide lesbians never try to prove that they are lesbians because they already know they are lesbians. I'll repeat, bona fide lesbians never try to prove that they are lesbians because they know that they're lesbians. I am a lesbian, and I never try to prove to other people or even myself that I am a lesbian. I don't try to convince people that I am a lesbian, nor do I try to deceive people into thinking that I am a lesbian. But there are females or women who do the opposite of what lesbians do. In other words, there are females or women out here who operate in a manner that bona fide lesbians do not operate in. They are constantly trying to convince people that they are lesbians. And some of them even try to convince themselves that they are lesbian, but they are not lesbians. So let me explain to you what I mean. This is like two categories. So I'll address the two categories. The first category is the female. And when I say female, I'm referring to the female sex and or gender. And you can be at any age range. Or women, you're an adult. You're at least 18 years of age and older. So I'll say female representing at any age and representing the gender or sex of female. And then woman, you're 18 years of age and older. So the category of females or women who are questioning their sexual orientation, they usually go back and forth a lot. And they're very uncertain about who they are. And they're very uncomfortable with their sexual orientation. These women tend to be bisexual or fluid in their sexual orientation. They generally have experienced being with both sexes or genders, male and female, in romantic and or sexual encounters. But these women usually are very uncomfortable about admitting to being bisexual or fluid. And they desire to be lesbians. Yes, there are females, there are women who do not want to be bisexual or fluid. Fluid just means they are on a continuum in their sexual orientation. They're not 100% heterosexual, or they're not 100% homosexual. They are on a continuum. They can be attracted to both sexes or genders, and the attraction may vary. Some are more physically attracted to one sex or gender than the other, or emotionally attracted to one sex or gender. And sometimes it's even. It depends on the person, the woman or the female. But they generally have a desire or attraction for both sexes. And there are the fluid bisexual women who want to be heterosexual, but that's not who I'm addressing, at least not in this video message today. I am addressing the bisexual fluid women who want to be lesbians or gay women, but they're not. So they question their sexuality because, in a sense, they're playing mind games with themselves because they have not truly accepted the fact that they are bisexual or fluid. And so it's constantly like an inner fight that they have. And you'll hear them say things like, well, I like women more. Or they'll say, I prefer women. And when they make these statements, bona fide lesbians do not make those type of statements. And the reason why is because bona fide lesbians do not think about being with a guy or a male or a man at all, romantically and or sexually. So bona fide lesbians never say, I like women more, or I like girls more, or I prefer to be with women. Those statements automatically mean I am attracted to both sexes or genders, meaning they're attracted to both males and females. Lesbians don't make those type of statements because we are only attracted to women exclusively. But because there are women who are fluid in their sexual orientation, and maybe they're not happy or comfortable with being bisexual or fluid, they will make those type of statements, usually to other women who are bona fide lesbians. A bona fide lesbian, when she hears another woman say, oh, well, I prefer women more, or I like women more, or I'm only with guys every once in a while. I don't really date them that much. I really don't like guys that much. I like girls more. Women who make those kind of statements, they are fluid in their sexual orientation. They are not bona fide lesbians. Now, the second category of women who are not bona fide lesbians are the kind of women who they're either heterosexual or they're bisexual. And they will deceive usually men into believing that they are lesbians because they are trying to attract a man or keep a man interested in them. Usually these women know their sexual orientation. They are not questioning their sexual orientation. They know exactly who they are. They are heterosexual women or they're bisexual women who are or fluid in their sexual orientation. But yet they understand how some men think, and they know that there are men who are very interested in being with lesbians. So because they know that's appealing to a man, if it's a man that they want, they will do things in order to get that man, even to the point where they will lie about their sexual orientation. And you might say, oh, well, that's so dramatic. Why don't they just be themselves? I mean, why lie about your sexual orientation to get a man? Well, because these women usually are desperate for a man and they're very manipulative. They will do things to selfishly gain what they want at that time. And men will say, oh, well, I thought she was a lesbian because she said she was. But if she was a lesbian, why would she be sleeping with you? Lesbians don't sleep with men. And so these men, they start thinking, well, all women want a man, or all men have the opportunity to be with a lesbian, which is not true. And this is a huge issue. And heterosexual women or bisexual women who play this game, do this trick, you are contributing to lesbian erasure. And it's awful. You are responsible for causing a lot of the drama that bona fide lesbians experience when dealing with heterosexual women and bisexual women. The clashing. And you do not take our lives seriously because you're only thinking about what you want, which is a man. So you will lie about your true, authentic sexual orientation in order to get the man you want. And when a man actually meets an authentic lesbian, bona fide lesbian, he's in disbelief because he's met women who said that they are lesbians and he was able to sleep with them the same night. So these men don't really believe there's bona fide lesbians because they've never met one. Most men have never met a bona fide lesbian. For one, being a lesbian is rare. And we represent 1% of the world population. We're very authentic in who we are. And when you do meet us, you will find out very quickly that we are who we say we are. We are lesbians. And when you are a man, you're not a woman. So you really don't know how a woman thinks, and you especially don't know how a lesbian woman thinks. So a man is kind of only going based off of what he hears from another woman. So a heterosexual man, if he's with this woman who tells him, I'm a lesbian, he can only believe what she says because, well, if you say you're a lesbian, then he's only accepting what you say until you show him different. So men know what lesbian means. Lesbians are female homosexuals. But if he's with this woman and she says that she's a lesbian, but he's able to date her and sleep with her, in his mind, he's thinking she's not a lesbian because he really knows what a lesbian is. But he'll go along with it because, I mean, he's getting what he wants too. I mean, if he's sleeping with you, hey, it's a win-win. But women need to be more considerate of other women and other women's sexual orientations, because you put bona fide lesbians in harm's way when you lie about who you are as a heterosexual woman or a bisexual woman in order for you to get a man. And when bona fide lesbians have to be around guys who do not take us seriously, it's a very terrible experience. And as I said earlier, how to know you're a bona fide lesbian? Lesbians never have to prove that they are lesbians because we know that we're lesbians. So bona fide lesbians are not out here trying to convince people that they're lesbians, and they're not trying to convince themselves that they're a lesbian. We are very aware of who we are. We're very confident in our own skin. And we could care less about how a person views us. So those two categories of women or females that I explained to you earlier, they always care about what other people think of them. You have the questioning female or woman questioning her sexuality. She's not comfortable with being bisexual or fluid. And she's constantly trying to convince bona fide lesbians that she's a lesbian. But we read between the lines. We see right through it because we're bona fide lesbians. So we already know you're not a bona fide lesbian. And that's fine. But what's not fine is the fact that you do not accept your authentic sexual orientation, which is either bisexual or pansexual or demisexual. You have to really figure that out for yourself. But instead, you choose to convince yourself and bona fide lesbians that you are a bona fide lesbian yourself. And that's phony. You're not actually impressing bona fide lesbians. You are actually causing them to be very wary of you. They don't trust you. And so more than likely, they will avoid you. They will reject you. And in return, that makes you feel inadequate or even more insecure. So it causes you to try to convince yourself and other bona fide lesbians that you are a lesbian, when really you need to embrace who you are and accept who you are. because your sexual orientation is who you are. And then for the other females or women who are not bona fide lesbians, they are either heterosexual or they're bisexual or fluid women, and they know their sexual orientation, but they will lie and really just undermine lesbian sexual orientation in our experience, because they don't walk in our shoes every day. They don't know the lesbian experience, and they could care less about it because all they want is that man. And they will say that they are lesbians in order to get a man. And in most cases, it's because they're trying to have sex with this man. And it's ridiculous because now these women who are pretending to be lesbians, they're teaching men that lesbians are not who they say they are, but they're also teaching men that lesbians are promiscuous and promiscuous with men. So that makes absolutely no sense, because lesbians are not having sex with men. And men know that, but when you have women out there who are lying about their sexual orientation, that man only can accept what you say you are. And he's not going to really go deep about it, because all he cares about is he's getting sex from you, and that's all he cares about. And then he'll go around and boast and say that he had sex with a lesbian. And you just don't even think, as a woman who's heterosexual or bisexual, you don't think about what bona fide lesbians have to go through. You are completely disrespecting our sexual orientation as lesbians. And that can cause a lot of conflict between women who have different sexual orientations, and it causes conflict for bona fide lesbians with men, because men don't take us seriously. And that's wrong. So, how to know you are a bona fide lesbian? You are at peace with being a lesbian. You don't lie about being a lesbian. You don't try to convince people that you are a lesbian to get what you want. And you're very considerate of lesbians. So you're mindful about what you do instead of just thinking about yourself and what you want. And I will mention one more way how to know you're a bona fide lesbian. You don't try to convince other lesbians that you're a lesbian. In both categories of women that I mentioned earlier, the one who questions her sexuality, who denies her sexuality, and she is always trying to convince bona fide lesbians that she's a lesbian. Lesbians who are bona fide lesbians don't do that. And then you have the straight woman who every once in a while she's curious and she may want to, sleep with a lesbian, a bona fide lesbian. She'll sometimes lie and say she's a lesbian. And then you have the bisexual women who lie and say that they're a lesbian to sleep with a bona fide lesbian. So that's wrong. And it happens. And bona fide lesbians don't lie to try to kick it with bona fide lesbians. So you have to do the inner work. You have to ask yourself, why am I so uncomfortable with myself? What is making me feel so inadequate, so insecure that I have to lie about who I really am in order to get what I want? Because ultimately, you are the one who lives with yourself every day. And you should want to be happy with who you are. And if you are not, then you need to work on it. Because you won't ever be fully satisfied, or you won't ever have the fulfilling life that you need, because you're always trying to be someone who you're not. And that's never authentic. And people are not dumb. People, in many cases, know you better than you know yourself. So instead of trying to convince people and even convincing yourself that you're someone who you are not, use that energy and that time to work on self-love and self-acceptance and be authentic. And that way you can start attracting authentic people in your life. I am Giselle Wallace, lesbian life coach and author. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like and share the video. And if you need life coaching, I do provide life coaching for same-sex attracted people. My contact information is here on YouTube in the description box below this video. You also can visit my website, www.gisellewallace.com. Have a bona fide day.